Now we track down a woman of Nigerian heritage with a unique disposition. Her work is equipping governments and institutions with people policies, competencies, and they also promote leadership, ethics, and innovation.
Nigerian-American-born Professor Yetunde Omede is a combination of beauty, determination, and academia. Born and raised in New Jersey to Nigerian parents, Chief Ade and Mrs. Biola Odugbeson from Ijebu-Oru in Ogun State, southwest Nigeria, Yetunde developed passion for change at a young age. Her interest in global ethics, good governance, human rights, gender equality, and diplomacy influenced her academic and professional endeavors. She received her doctorate degree in global affairs, a master's in global affairs with a focus on international law, and a bachelor's degree in journalism and media studies from Rutgers University. She also received certification in U.S. public policy from Harvard University. She is currently the acting director of the Office of Community and Civic Engagement and professor of Global Affairs and Politics at Farmingdale State College. Professor Omede brings a strong track record of leadership, strategic and organizational management, and a progressive approach to international development, democracy building, and policy advocacy. She was recently awarded a 4-year tenure as a Fulbright Specialist Scholar under the United States Department of Education and Culture. In recognition of her contribution and impact, Professor Omede was inducted into the 2021 Rutgers University African American Hall of Fame. She previously worked at the United Nations Population Fund, Rutgers University School of Public Affairs and Administration, New Jersey State Ethics Commission, and Rutgers Institute for Anti-Corruption Studies, amongst others. She has held many leadership positions and received over 70 awards and distinctions for her work. Professor Omede was a board member for the Barack Obama Green Charter High School in Plainfield, New Jersey. She is a member of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women and serves on its United Nations Committee. She serves as an incubator for modern policy reform and works with elected officials from across the country to provide vital policy recommendations that promote more equitable representation of women in elected office. Her work extends all the way to Nigeria, her home country, where she has met and worked with government officials and heads of state to improve policies and initiatives that empower youth population and human security. She attributes her many successes to being blessed with great people and wonderful opportunities, which is why she utilizes her unique disposition to empower, encourage, and inspire young people to stand out, be bold, and be proud of their unique backgrounds. Her passion and mission to pay it forward is often recognized in the various philanthropic and humanitarian initiatives she lends herself to. She is the founder of Young Women's Guide, an organization that provides leadership development and training to young women from all backgrounds. Professor Omede has over 25 publications. She is the author of 4 books, with the most recent titled Balance. She is happily married with 3 beautiful children, and she is not slowing down on her mission to make a positive global impact.
Come with us as we meet this political groundbreaker.
Professor Yetunde Omede has an affinity for many things, and governance, women empowerment, and education is top on the list.
It is not in the best interest of any country or in the best interest of any corporation or institution that is run only by men. We have a society that impacts women. Women are in our society. They are a part of our society. So any policies that are created that have an impact on the lives of individuals have to take into account the role that it has and it plays on women and children, right? So therefore, women in politics is a way to also have what we call a gender perspective in policy creation. It's a way to have a woman's voice in issues where men would have either ignored, or culture would have ignored, or tradition or religion would have ignored. And so we cannot exclude that population out of decision-making processes when they will be impacted by the decisions that are made. as a professor, there are, of course, areas that I see that can be replicated in Nigeria in the institutions of education. There needs to be some form of a redesign in terms of the curriculum in the institutions of education, not only in tertiary education, but secondary education, for us to continue to produce students who are competitive in this global age. We have an asset of 70%, right? We have an asset of the young. We have the country with the youngest population bulge amongst all countries. That is an asset, and it's not a deficit, right? It is not a burden. It is something that needs to be harnessed. And if you want to go to the root cause of any of the issues in society, you start with the fundamentals, the institutions of education. That is what produces individuals to now go into our assume positions in the legal system, run for office in the political system, become our medical doctors, become our teachers, become our lawyers, become our security officials and police officers. You go to the root whenever you want to fix a problem.
When it comes to leadership, she believes setting priorities right in spite of challenges is what makes greatness.
Of course, the country is dealing with various issues where it comes to insecurity, economic issues, but these issues are not peculiar to the country of Nigeria. There are many countries around the world who are dealing with the same issue. The agenda should be that despite the issues that are on ground, what do we do? How do we implement the ideas? How do we implement the policies that would have direct impact, positive impact on the citizens of Nigeria? So I think as we're getting to the next wave of a leadership in Nigeria, I believe the citizens are really looking to someone who's going to be inspirational, someone who they can also look to give them the courage to not leave the country but stay in the country so we can harness the brain gain and not the brain drain.
She highlights transparency as integral in governance, a quality that should come into play from the electoral process.
When it comes to the political scene, I think the transparency first starts off with elections, right? So that sort of sets the stage of how the country should be run, right? That's the democratic principles and values that most people are looking to. Is the country transparent? Are all votes being counted? Are we electing the true individual that is supposed to be in that position? So that area of transparency, right, electoral transparency, is something that we're looking at. And then there's another facet of transparency is what we call government spending. Right? The money that's allocated, the federal expenditures, are they going to the areas that they're supposed to go? Is the education sector receiving the government spending that has been allocated to them? Are public servants receiving the allocation of their wages? So there's different levels of transparency.
Another crucial step is paying attention to the present time by addressing low youth representation in governance.
We have to ensure that 70% of population, that millennial age, those who are also highly educated, who have experience, are giving really the mantle to also lead the country. We have levels of godfatherism in the country that really we need to sort of get rid of. If we really want the country to move forward, there has to be a leadership that is encompassed and reflective of the society that we're in. And we have a very young society. And so as you can see, a lot of our politicians are of a different generation. And the generation that we have now calls for, has various expectations. And if you are unable to meet those expectations, if you are unable to lead with the time that we are in now, you will experience what we call pushback. It's not enough to just have a sprinkle of people here and there. We need to take a step back, right? So we don't want to be 100% inundated and influenced with pop culture to the fact that we forget our own home culture. And you know, I think my parents always used to say, remember the home in which you came from. And that's the same thing where young people should remember their culture and remember the home in which they come from, no matter where they are in the world. And that the decisions that you make here in Nigeria or any part of the world is a reflection of your home. And so we want to ensure that the narratives that come out of the country are the narratives that are the best of the country. We're going to have a balanced approach where there's good, there's also bad, but the bad shouldn't overwhelm the storytelling of the good. And that really relies on us, and it's our responsibility to shape and carry that narrative and to ensure that as we represent the country, wherever it is in the world, we represent it in a way that changed the perspective of people and how they thought about Nigeria and what they think it is, right? We carry that responsibility, and it's extremely important for young people to know that.
And on the topic of migration, she had this to say.
You may leave one place, one location, for greener pastures somewhere else. But even in that greener pastures exists a unique problem that is unique to that location. So I understand people's choice of wanting to leave, and people have the freedom of movement. So they can make the best decisions that they want for themselves and for their family. But at the same time, it would be a disservice to the country if a multitude of people are leaving because they feel as though the government is not providing their needs or their high levels of insecurity where they can't reach their fullest potential. That becomes a deficit for the country. And that's something that any government should always take a look at. If there are high levels of the population who want to leave but cannot leave, who risk their lives to leave, and who would rather live in a different country. And there's a perspective that people who live outside of the country can also add in terms of the international playing field that we're on. Most importantly, I think the branding of the country also needs to change. From a diaspora perspective and an international perspective, the international community is bombarded with a lot of negative information that comes out of Nigeria. Equally, there's many positive ones. So we need to take responsibility and take charge of the narrative that we export into the world. There are many other countries that also, in a sense, have the same issues as Nigeria, or even more. But they take control of the global narrative of what the country is known for. So despite the challenges that there may be, we need to market ourselves globally in a way that we say we boast about our 70% population that is under 30. We boast about that population because we are in a digital age, and this is an asset for our country. We can boast that in the rest of the world, we have the top Nigerians in many high places who are doing wonderful and innovative things. In the United States of America alone, Nigerians are the highest level, has the highest level of educational attainment than any other minority group in the United States. There are a lot of things to be worthy for. There's a lot of things to be laudable, but we really have to market ourselves on a global stage in a way that not only is enticing to foreign direct investment, but it's enticing to the young people around the world to say that this is the giant of Africa and look what we are doing within the context of our country. Look how we are supporting, look how we are employing the young people of our country. They are the future of tomorrow. And if they are the future of tomorrow, we also need to see them in elected positions. The ones who are ethical, the ones who are intelligent, the ones who are innovative, the ones who are keen on taking the country forward.
Professor Omede developed passion for change at a young age. It's the same passion and purpose that keeps her driven.
Understand that our life is not only our own, and understanding that our achievements are not only our own. Our educational background doesn't only belong to us, but it should be used as a form of service for other people. And so I think since I was young, I've always, in my mind, thought of what I do is not only for me, but it impacts my family, it impacts my community, and it impacts the world at large. And I'm here for a purpose. Right? I'm here to do work. There's an assignment that I must do and I must carry out. So I walk with intention. And so everything I do is with intention. And so that is what has made the difference for me and has made my path very clear on what I want to do and what I want to achieve and how that would impact other people. I'm not on this journey alone. Like I said, I have a husband who's very supportive. I have children who is on this journey with me. I have a wonderful family, mother and brother, family and friends who are on this journey. So it's not a journey that you walk alone. You meet friends along the way. You meet colleagues along the way. And no man is an island. Right? And so if you want to achieve great things, yes, you can go alone, but it's better company with people.
But her journey hasn't always been smooth.
Most of the challenges that we experience in life is how do we prioritize the things that matter the most to us, right? When we're pulled in so many different directions. Your career is here, your family is here, your social life is here, your passions are here. How do you manage to balance everything? And that was an area that I also was a challenge, but it served as an opportunity because I wrote a book on balance. On balancing your life. It was something that I knew that not only myself struggled with, but so many people, irrespective of age, irrespective of gender, irrespective of geographic location.
And wherever the journey takes her, a life of impact is how she would like to be remembered.
the goal is to let people know that I was here, and that the mandate that I carry to impact not only the world but the communities that I serve will be here after me, and that my children and their children will understand that, you know, their mother worked hard, and she worked hard because she had intention and purpose, not only for herself, but to ensure that the generation that we have here and the generation to come are better than where we left it.
Wow, what a story of service. With over 17 million Nigerians in the diaspora, the message to them in the new year is to channel their positions of influence to make a positive impact back home. And that's the show. You can watch other episodes on our website, channelstv.com. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Let's do this again some other time.